So good evening, everyone. Thank you, Doris. I appreciate that wonderful introduction. So when Doris first asked me to talk to this organization, I wanted to address most of what I do is family law. So I do divorces and dissolutions, and I wanted to address how insurance impacts a divorce and how folks that get divorced can perhaps protect their financial future with insurance. And a couple of issues that came to mind, and Doris sort of helped me narrow down the issues that I wanted to address. So the three areas that I focused on are life insurance, health insurance, and liability insurance. So those areas I wanted to address how those types of insurance are impacted through a divorce, and what clients can do perhaps to protect themselves, or maybe what they can't do. So if we start out with the life insurance, one thing that has occurred, I do lots of networking, and I've spoken to agents in the past, and life insurance agents always want me to put in my decrees that the parties will get life insurance basically to cover in the event that the person paying the child support and the spousal support, if they were to pass away. And so that's to protect the person receiving the child support and the spousal support to receive a policy or a payout in the event that something happens to the person paying. This is a great idea because if the person paying that money without it dies, the other person's not going to receive any money, basically. So the only time I have the opportunity to put this in my decree is if the parties are actually going to come to an agreement. Generally, what I tell agents is that the court is not going to order the parties to maintain this. It needs to be something that the parties agree to. Generally, the person paying the spousal support or the child support doesn't want to pay for that policy. But if there is an agreement, the person paying needs to be the person responsible for paying for that policy, and the person receiving the child support or the spousal support needs to be the owner of that policy. And I do talk to my clients about that, and we have that conversation. And hopefully if the parties have an agreement, then we can get that done. So one issue that's come up more recently in regards to the life insurance policy is there was a recent case that actually addressed this issue. So the Ohio Revised Code provides for the termination of spousal support upon the death of either party, unless the award expressly provides otherwise. In Suttmuller versus Suttmuller recently, the court actually found that expressly means in an express manner, in direct or unmistakable terms, and explicitly. So in this particular case, there was a decree ordering husband to maintain life insurance in order to secure the spousal support obligation, but the court found that term to be unreasonable because it didn't expressly state that it's to continue. The spousal support obligation continues past death. So you have two things going on. You have the Ohio Revised Code, which calls for a termination of the spousal support, and then you have parties that are trying to include that award or that life insurance policy as a requirement. The court basically found, and so certainly if you have clients that have this as an issue, what needs to occur is their decree needs to expressly state that the obligation does not terminate upon death. Basically, it needs to include language that states that that obligation continues after death, and that will certainly be an incentive for that party to maintain that life insurance policy. In this particular case, the court found it unreasonable, inappropriate, and they vacated that decision. So while the party that was supposed to be receiving that, well, in this case, it was the wife, she thought she had secured herself a life insurance policy in the event that her husband passed away, and in fact, the court found that inappropriate and vacated it. So you work with the clients, make sure that that language is in the decree, and other possible fixes. If the policy goes to the children or to a trust on behalf of the children, then that is, and it's not actually necessarily securing the spousal support, then I think perhaps that's a possible fix to this scenario as well. So those are options, and it just has to be addressed beforehand. And I try to work with my clients to have the appropriate language in there as well, or have it go to the children or a trust on behalf of the children if they're minor children.